Reflections of Purpose. Hello, thank you so much for joining us. You joined us here at Twisted Threads for our Reflections of Purpose. My name is Karen Sims, and as always, we try to get right in. So, today's title, Impostor Syndrome. Yeah, Impostor Syndrome. So, it becomes important for us to think about, we've heard this terminology and there's been talks about it, and you could find articles about this everywhere. I mean, anywhere from TMZ all the way to Harvard Business Review, talking about imposter syndrome. And what is it? And how do you combat it? And so one thing that, for those of you who haven't heard the terminology before, imposter syndrome is sort of a persistent inability for someone to believe that they deserve the place in the world where they are. So they may discredit themselves. They may put on a thought of, I'm thinking that I increase anxiety in my life just because I think somebody thinks that I don't deserve to be here. First of all, it's not really about what somebody else is thinking about you. But today we want to focus on how our own thoughts can get in our way when we now consider imposter syndrome. So, imposter syndrome makes us believe the thought of, I cannot fail. I must not fail. Failure is going to be a bad thing. When we think about how debilitating that thought is. People fail every day. Walt Disney failed. Thomas Jefferson failed. You name it. They failed in things that they tried for the first time. And maybe it was something that then another bright idea came up. So maybe your first thought was, I'm going to go this direction. And then you hit a wall. Then you hit something that caused you to think differently about the things in your life. And you're just like, well, I can't move forward because I may fail. We got to nix that thought. Maybe some of you feel like, well, I feel fake. Like you might believe that you don't deserve the success that you're experiencing in your life, or you believe, oh no, one day somebody's going to find out. I know I can say that I personally went through that thought when I started school, with me being a young mother, with me starting new jobs of, oh my goodness, what's going to happen when they find out that maybe I don't think that I'm as smart as I really am, or maybe I've diminished the thought of success. And we got to think that sometimes people think, oh, well, it's all down to luck. I'm lucky, so I got things. These are all diminishing mindsets that get in our way and cause us to think less of ourselves. And a lot of times we don't even focus on what does that mean. The other thing that we do sometimes when you're suffering from that whole imposter syndrome is we act like success is not a big deal. Look, I'm asking you all to join me here weekly on Twisted Threads because I believe that success is not only a destination, but it's also a new frame of thought that brings life choices in your purview that haven't been there before. So success is the destination, but it's also the mindset that we got to put on in our lives. And we understand that we've got to diminish the thought of that imposter syndrome, where somewhere where somebody is going to find us out. We saw many movies about that. Tom Hanks was in a movie where, they had imposters there and he's going around to these different places and you take on somebody else's name. It literally becomes a personal, emotional identity theft for you when you assume the imposter syndrome. Because not only do you think of yourself less and you discredit the success that you already had, but you lose yourself in this thought of, I don't belong here. My time is short. My time is limited. They're going to find out what's wrong and then they're going to come back and I will no longer be welcomed, or somebody won't like me. Well, odds are if you're doing great things, you got some haters, and those are the people who are not going to like you regardless. So if you just shift your mindset to say it really doesn't matter whether somebody likes me or they don't, as long as I'm staying on course, as long as I'm doing the things that are important to me, me, then I can shake off that imposter syndrome, pull down a mask, and become the real version of me that I love, that I like, and then my life will be transformed in a positive way. So, what do you do when that imposter syndrome comes up? I want to talk to us a little bit today about some tips that you could find, whether it's on the internet or different places, or you come here to Twisted Threads for us to help you shake off that imposter syndrome and be able to live the best life that you, yes, you can live. So, first thing is you got to recognize imposter feelings when they emerge. When they come up and you're discrediting yourself and you're thinking, I'm not enough, or somebody else is better than me. That spirit of comparison is going to get in your way every single time, because it'll get in your head and you'll think thoughts about yourself that they weren't there before. But if you recognize that the imposter syndrome is coming up, here's some things that you can do. You can rewrite your mental programming. Rethink about how you speak about yourself. Rethink about the things that you say about yourself. Rethink about the things you believe about yourself. How about that? Maybe all your life you've been called stupid. Maybe all your life it's been said that you're not beautiful, that you're not enough. Maybe somebody diminished you with their words, but that does not have to be your version of you today. You get the opportunity to figure out, so what do I need to say about myself so that I don't have those limiting thoughts in my life. And you think about, okay, well, who do I need to talk to about it? Well, it's important because therapy is just that, talking about your feelings. Whether you go to a licensed medical practitioner, or it's a support group or friends that are close to you, you talking about your feelings of those times where you feel like you are suffering from imposter syndrome and you think like, I'm diminishing my success because I don't think I deserve it. Well, thankfully, it's not that we always live the lives that we deserve, but we live the lives that we are blessed with, and we get to do the things. I love it. Met a new friend, Miss Alma, and she shares with me her thoughts about what? Hey, we got to appreciate the things that God allows to come into our lives, that God allows to transform our lives. And it's an important thing when we think about considering the context. Maybe your thought for the imposter syndrome is just based on the things that you were told as you were growing up. You know, people from this town might be considered garbage. You know, I love it because when I moved to Pennsylvania, people sometimes had a wrong mindset about the people who lived on the South Side. Until they realized that I was one of those people who lived on the South Side. And then it allowed them to broaden their thought. And it wasn't something for them to be afraid of. It wasn't something for them to fear. But they now understood, just because of me? Yeah. They understood that there were good people living there and that things were going on in a positive way. We've got to reframe failure as a learning opportunity. Don't think of the thought of, I cannot fail. I must not fail. All things are going to go to the left if I fail. If you fail, make sure you learn something. That is all that failure is. And when we change and shift our mindset to say, failure is a lesson. And as long as we learn from that lesson and not repeat the same failure in the same way. So that means that if you tried it, you know, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Well, if you tried it the next time, make sure you don't use the same tactics that you used the last time. Why? Because they weren't successful. Track your failures. Not so that you could say, oh, well, I didn't do it in 15,000 times and now this 15,001 is bound to not be successful. But if you tracking your failures in a sense of what lessons did I learn with each attempt, you then get the opportunity not only to dispel the thought of that imposter syndrome and what that's doing to bring havoc to your mind and havoc to the thoughts for yourself. You get to also do a couple of things that are always really important, and I try to stress them here. Be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself. Yeah, we got a whole video on that and a whole installment for Reflections of Purpose about you forgiving yourself. Seek some support for people who are in maybe the same field or going in the same direction. You know, we hear this a lot for people who are first generation college students. They're going to college and their families have never experienced that before. You get the chance to do that. And then this is the part that I love the best. They even wrote books about it, about the secret. Visualize your success. Speak it. Speak life and positivity in your life until those things that you visualize, whether it's on a vision board or some other place, come and show up in your world. Why? Because you're commanding them to be drawn to you just by changing your mind. Understanding that failure is a learning opportunity and we get a lesson to do better the next time. That's all we're looking here to remind you of each day. Second and third and fourth chances, yeah, they're important. Because we get the chance to understand that our last failure does not define us, but our next steps makes us victorious. Look, I'm so happy that you joined us here today at Twisted Threads for our reflections of purpose. Remember to like and share our videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss a thing. Make it an amazing day.